Hey guys, welcome back to Maelstrom Gaming Studios. I'm Craig.
And I'm Connor.
And today we have a big video for you guys. We're going to do a deep dive, a rough deep dive into every single Hive fleet that the Tyranids have. We're not going to touch too much on custom Hive fleets in this video. That will be for another one. This video would drag on for too long going over everything there. So we'll touch on the Hive fleets and give you a good rundown, especially if you're new to the Tyranids, and of course we're all new to this 9th edition codex. So if that all sounds good, do hit the like button, help support our channel there. And if you want to stay up to date on all of our content here at Maelstrom Gaming Studios, do click the little subscribe button to get up-to-date content here. And if you really want to support the growth, do consider becoming a member. That really helps out the growth more than anything else here. So thank you to our members. And now, with all that out of the way, let's dive into today's video.
Okay, so we're going to start off with a little outline of the Hive Fleets. And in this new book, each Hive Fleet has its own Hive Fleet adaptation, an adaptive trait, which can be swapped out. There's little stipulations on that.
Yeah, we'll go over that quickly.
Okay. It has its own Warlord Trait, its own Psychic Power, which is known by all Psychers, its own Stratagem, and its own Relic. Just a lot of stuff for,
it's a lot.
for each Hive Fleet. We'll also cover each Hive Fleet's playstyle, key units and strategies, and where to rank them on the power scale.
Absolutely. So before we dive into the first Hive Fleet, I do want to mention, Connor said, the adaptive traits. Those we will cover in our video. For you guys, here's a list of them. Essentially, we have these 3 traits: Hunt, Feed, and Lurk, and your adaptive traits can be swapped out to one of those corresponding tables.
Right.
And the key thing that some people will not pick up on, you pick that second trait at the start of the first battle round.
Which is amazing. Not
when you're making your list, not before the game happens. When first battle round happens, you roll off to know who's going first, then you pick your trait.
That's a very new 9th edition codex
thing
to do.
Powerful thing. And it fits into the Tyranids being super adaptive.
It does.
So cover that. We'll go into more depth of all of those in a later video. But here we go. Start off with Hive Fleet Leviathan. We're not touching on the supplement. We don't know still if the supplement is going to be axed or not. I have a speculation that it might be axed out of that. So
for all intents and purposes, this is probably
this is pure codex right now. So the Hive Fleet adaptation is that you cannot wound synapse creatures on 1 to 3s, so they have transhuman all the time. And non-synapse models and within synaptic link range cannot be wounded on 1s or 2s.
It's nice for the synapse.
Very nice for the synapse.
Nice for gaunts.
It'll help out the gaunts a lot. A lot of your non-synapse is not going to be wounded on 2s anyway to begin with. But if
your whole book got a toughness bonus. Yeah.
So yeah, unless you want to run lots of gaunts, it probably won't come up too much. But still, for the synapse creatures, which is where your powerhouse in this codex is, that's great. Very great.
Yeah.
The adaptive trait is that every unit can reroll a hit when they fight or shoot.
Solid.
It's fine.
Yeah.
And then the tables you can reference, as you saw before, they reference the Hunt and the Feed trait if you want to swap out that adapted one.
Right.
The Warlord trait is you reroll 1 hit, wound, damage, advance, charge, save, psychic test in each battle round. You can't do one of any of them, or one of all of them, but every battle round you can reroll one of those. So it's a free command point reroll. Could be good on a Psyker, could be good on your Hive Tyrant.
Hive Tyrants, I guess,
probably.
Okay.
The Psychic Power, I'll read this one because it's a little confusing. So you have to select a couple units. You first select a unit within synaptic link range, and then that unit has to be, and then you select a synapse unit also within synaptic link range. That first unit you selected counts as having the synapse creature that you selected, their synaptic imperative active. So you pick and then it stacks on top of the current synaptic imperative, and you can use one that's already been used for the game.
So let's say you have the Hive Tyrant synaptic imperative active for your whole army.
Yep.
This Psychic Power lets one unit also benefit from another imperative that it's close to on the board. Okay.
And theoretically, if your chain's well enough positioned, it could be on the other side of the board.
So you could have 2 active at once
for one unit.
Model.
So the biggest one where this will come up is you can grant that 4 or 5 up invuln save every single turn for a unit. Is the big one where this will come up. You could do it for some other if you want more powerful psychic or things like that, but very powerful option there.
Okay. Yeah, stratagem. Combined assault for 1 CP. It's using the fight phase. If 2 more friendly units are engaged on the same target, you get +1 AP.
Yep.
So that's pretty solid.
Extra AP if you need it, yeah.
Extra AP if you're charging something with 2 of your own units. Mm-hmm. And lastly, we've got the relic. Friendly units within 6 inches can intercept for units that arrive within 18 of the bearer.
Yeah.
18?
So the bearer, if a unit arrives within 18 of the bearer, he picks a unit within 6 inches of him to shoot as if it were the shooting phase.
Grey Knights.
And he does that.
12 inches.
It's not just it's not just once per turn. He can do it. So if you drop in like 6 units around him, as long as there are 6 units that he can select to shoot, they can all do it. It's just 1 unit can shoot per turn.
Wow.
So it's very powerful if you're going up against a certain army.
I was going to say it's very powerful, but very
situational.
I mean, it also deters.
It is a big deterrent. I mean, think about Pyrovores, Exocrines, Tyrannofexes.
Yeah, and think about playing against my Grey Knights.
Grey Knights, that would be mean.
It would stop me, or it would make me like think twice about doing that.
Deep striking or shunting.
Yeah. Wow.
So the play style for the Leviathan is they're pretty generalistic. You can go in all sorts of directions with them, but they are a bulky Hive fleet more than anything right now. The army-wide transhuman means you're really gonna want to tech into the synapse more than anything in this army.
Right.
You'll probably see vast amounts of warriors, zoanthropes, hive tyrants, and maybe some other gribblies here and there.
Yeah. How would you rank the power level within the codex of this Hive fleet?
I would say this is probably the strongest.
Wow, really?
I have a ranking at the last slide where I put them, but I think this, depending on your play style, could touch with being the strongest one.
That surprised me. I thought you would have picked a more aggressive one.
For me personally, I like the more aggressive ones, but in a generalist purpose, this one I think is really good.
Okay.
The one key combo I want to highlight, and I'm sure a lot of people have already highlighted this, is a 9-man block of Tyranid warriors. Can only be wounded on 4s. You can give them the 4-up invuln save every single turn.
Oof.
And they have the strat to subtract -1 damage plus slapping catalyst on top of it.
Wow.
You could make now it's a lot of buffs on buffs on buffs,
right.
but man, that 9-man block, even with just a 4-up save, is not shifting very quick.
Against the right army, that could be almost impossible to take out.
You need small arms fire. This is one of the few things where bolters are still going to be the best weapon to use.
Like way better than blast cannons.
Absolutely.
Weird.
Again, so like I said, you'll see a lot of warriors, zoanthropes, hive tyrants, and big monsters to benefit from those invuln saves.
Okay, so starting off strong here.
Starting off strong with the with Leviathan.
Yeah. Kraken overview.
Kraken.
I'd say, I mean, this is the one you've used the most so far.
This is my favorite right now.
Yeah. So they start with their Hive Fleet adaptation on the charge. Or is it on the charge, or if it just the first round of combat?
Technically, you could say the first round of combat, but they stipulate it for rules purposes.
Okay, so if they charge, are charged, or heroically intervene, they get +1 AP on that round of combat.
Yep.
Which is great. The adaptive trait is advanced rolls are D3 + 3, which is
extra speed.
Yeah, it's
extra
good.
speed. Yeah.
And then the infinite traits.
That's the ones you can swap out to.
Right.
Yeah.
You can swap out to hunt and feed.
Yeah. A lot of good options in those.
Yeah. Warlord traits. Every time your opponent uses a strat, you get on a 5+, you gain 1 CP.
Yeah. Pretty simple, but it's the only way to have CP regeneration in the Codex.
This is the only one?
That's the only Warlord trait, relic, anything.
Didn't it used to not be? It used to be a.
It was the
Leviathan
supplement thing. So.
Right. Now it's for Kraken.
Yeah.
Huh. Cool. Psychic power. This is a big one. Mm-hmm. Psychic lure. It's only warp charge 5.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Pretty much an auto pass.
That's crazy. Reroll charges against the selected target. So you cast it on an enemy unit, and you get to reroll all your charges against them.
And it specifically says, and does this a lot in the Tyranid Codex, that target only has to be one of the targets. So you can multi-assault and still benefit from the reroll charges.
Wow.
Very good.
Very good.
Very good.
Stratagem. Well, do you want to explain this one?
I can explain it. This is my favorite strat.
Yes.
You guys probably recently saw the stratagem video we did. If not, check it out.
Yeah.
Opportunistic advance. For 1 CP is an 8-inch advance for a unit. They ignore the penalty for firing assault weapons and advancing. And technically, if you put onslaught on that unit, they can still charge afterwards.
Right, but you have to use onslaught.
You do have to use onslaught.
To charge with that.
To charge.
But I mean, in all fairness, even though you have to get that psychic power off, with that combo, it's basically like...
It's really easy.
The Swarm Lord turn 1 charges back
It's
in the
the
day.
closest thing the Tyranids have in this codex to the old Swarm Lord, because it's in some ways, it's even better, because you can shoot. Before, you couldn't, you had to give up your shooting phase.
Yeah, it's true.
You can still shoot, and targets can still do a significant amount of damage in the shooting phase right now.
Yeah.
With it.
Cool.
And the relic is nice and simple. The bearer is -1 to hit, and attacks cannot be rerolled against him.
Could you see yourself taking that relic instead of other ones?
Oh, it's tough. I don't think I could.
Maybe as an extra relic.
It would definitely as an extra relic. Maybe on more of a support one, like your Turvagons or your well, not even your Trigons, because they're already -1 to hit.
Turvagon for sure.
Turvagon could be a fun one on there.
Yeah.
So, but not your primary relic.
Okay.
Kraken playstyle. So again, these guys lean on combat and mobility. Yeah, they can make work with some shooting, but these aren't going to be your gun lines. You want to use the mobility with opportunistic advance, use the Jormangandr charging strat, overrun, use mobility to your advantage.
Use opportunistic advance like every turn.
Every single turn.
Yeah.
You should, when I've played the 4 games with Kraken so far, I would say, yeah, every single turn I use that stratagem.
It's 1 CP on there.
It's 1 CP, and it doesn't scale with the point value.
That's crazy.
So you use it on your Zone Throat, that's a bad example. Use it on a 10-man block of gargoyles, it's 1 CP. Use it on a 270 point unit of Raveners, it's 1 CP.
Oof.
Speaking of the Raveners, we'll talk about that, because that is the key combo that we're highlighting for them. Raveners with Death Spitters and Scything Talons. You take a 9-man block of these, give them Catalyst, give them the 5-up Invuln save with the Synaptic Imperative from the Zone Thropes. And if you really want to go all out, you can pair Will of the Hive Mind, Direct Guidance, and Alpha Warrior onto these Raveners.
Which are all offensive
command point,
buffs.
offensive rerolling buffs, give them +1s to hit. And they just decimate infantry. They won't do so well. They'll do okay against tanks just by sheer volume of attacks.
Yeah.
But if there are any infantry, toughness 5 and below, these guys decimate them.
Probably pop a Rhino too.
Oh, they could if they
guess.
wanted to. They could pop a Rhino.
Yeah.
Other units you want to look out for using, Jormangandrs, because of the speed. Screamer Killers will also benefit greatly from this strat.
Yeah.
And you're going to need Neurothropes just to make your psychic powers consistent, because Synaptic Lure and Onslaught are so crucial to this Hive Fleet that...
And Catalyst.
Catalyst is always good too.
Always good.
But yeah. Some other things to note is that you'll need Synapse to keep up with your speed. Obviously, Flying Hive Tyrants are going to be big. I'm liking a Synaptically Enhanced Harpy to keep up with my speed, but another option, don't have the model just yet, but I think a Parasite of Mortrex could find his way into some Kraken lists because it does have a 16-inch movement base.
It might be the perfect, most points efficient Synapse creature in a fast list like this.
It could be. You could.
'Cause he's cheaper, right?
Yeah, he's cheaper, and you could put Direct Guidance on the Parasite. I think I'm 90% sure you can do that.
Okay.
So then he can hand out that buff while staying in range of them.
Cool.
So right there.
Behemoth, one of the really underused ones last edition, right?
All of them were underused last edition, pretty much.
Besides the supplement.
Besides Kronos and Leviathan, they were all underused.
That's a good point. So their Hive Fleet adaptation is +1 strength if charged, was charged, or performed a heroic intervention.
Yep.
So +1 strength on the charge. Well, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
Adaptive trait, they start with reroll charge rolls, which is fantastic.
It's great.
They can take traits from Hunt and Lurk. I guess trade out that trait.
They can trade out, yeah.
From Hunt and Lurk. The Warlord trait is 6s to wound, deal a mortal wound in addition to damage. So, it's a classic Warlord trait.
It can stack up, yeah.
The Psychic Power is Warp Charge 7. Select one unit within
Synaptic link
range.
Yep.
That unit gains +1 to wound and melee.
Still powerful. Same thing they had
Wow.
in the old supplement, and it's back, and it's technically better.
Imagine that on a squad of 30 Jormangandrs.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Especially because they're strength 4 on the
Yeah.
charge. They're strength 4 on the charge, so they're wounding most things on 3s
Yeah.
or 4s.
Wow.
3s or 4s.
Okay, that's cool. The stratagem is Unparalleled Ferocity. It's either 1 or 2 CP depending on squad size.
Yep.
Is the 2 CP for a big squad of Gaunts or?
2 CP is if it is not
Oh.
an endless multitude unit. So your Jormangandrs, Gargoyles, and Termagants.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what it does is it grants an infantry unit fight on death. Wow.
So your 30 Gaunts, if they fight second and your opponent wipes out all 30 of them, they can all fight. You have to use it at the start of the fight
situational,
phase.
for sure.
So you have to know, like, okay, this Gaunt squad is gonna die.
Yeah.
It's a way to balance your charges. If you have to pick between, do I fight with my Hive Tyrant or do I fight with my Jormangandrs? You can kind of do both with this.
If you know you're going to get interrupted or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. And then finally, the relic is +1 damage to melee weapons that the bearer is equipped with, which is pretty solid.
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Okay, cool.
Playstyle, they lean heavy on combat. They are the combat of all of them. No, Tyranids are a more combat heavy army in general.
This is the combat.
These guys are the
within.
brutes.
Okay.
The brutes of it. Go for the high strength, high punch type of attack. So they have mobility, different than Kraken's mobility, as they are more so about consistency of getting into combat. But they also, when they hit in combat, instead of hitting at AP like Kraken, they hit at just raw
Higher
strength.
Yeah.
The psychic power is going to be good to use on everything. The +1 to wound, you're going to want to use it on a lot of your little guys, but also putting on your warriors. If you play without the bone swords for whatever reason, we could put it on your Raveners. Putting it on Carnifexes could be nasty as well.
Crusher or
Stone Crusher or Screamer Killer. Screamer Killer is the one with 11 or 10 attacks.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
+1 to wound on that thing.
Be awesome. A key unit that you will want to try out is the nasty Flying Hive Tyrant that you can make with this. You take the Warlord trait for 6 to wound, do mortal wounds. You have the Reaper of Blitteraxe for a relic, which is all your hits do mortal wounds in addition. And you have the strat for Trampling Charge, which is you deal mortal wounds on the charge.
So just, how many mortal, you calculated it, right?
On average for here, it is somewhere between 6 and 10 mortal wounds in addition to the damage you are already putting out.
That is crazy.
It is, you're going up against, say, Custodes with their bikers.
Yeah.
You're potentially killing 2 of those bikers before you even swing.
Wow.
Now, technically, the way the damage is applied, you'll do some mortal wounds and then the
Custodes
damage.
do have ignores though.
They have some, but it's not as common as like Grey Knights or anything.
Right. I think it's Emperor's Chosen. They have the 4+ ignore mortals, but that's only one of the.
And I don't even know if that's the most common one being played.
It is.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ignore mortals is so.
It is very good.
But that'll probably get nerfed in the future. Don't worry about that.
We'll see.
Yeah.
So some key units, like we said, Jormangandrs, Raveners, and Carnifexes are all going to be big. And again, this Hive Tyrant, I think, is going to be a nasty.
I would love to see that. Not against me.
Not against you, yeah.
Against other people.
All right.
Gorgon. Was this the worst one last edition?
This was the worst one last edition. They've got a nice glow up.
I don't even remember hearing people talk about it even as a joke. So
more of a fluffy list than anything.
Well, let's see what happened to him. So Gorgon, Hive Fleet adaptation, unmodified wound rolls of 4+, always wound, except against vehicles and Titanic units. So poison.
Poison. Army-wide poison.
So I sense Gaunts are going to be.
Lots of Gaunts could be good, yeah.
The adapted trait is reroll 1 wound when they fight and shoot. Yeah.
It's something.
Okay. And they can swap that out for a trait on the lurk or feed tables. The Warlord trait is roll a d6 at the start of the fight phase for each unit within 3 inches of the Warlord.
Yep.
On a 2 through 5, the unit suffers 1 mortal wound. On a 6, they suffer d3 mortal wounds. So like a poison cloud.
Yeah, it's fine. It's
okay. Psychic power is warp charge 7. Select one unit within, don't tell me, say it, what is it?
Synaptic link range.
I don't know why I can't. Synaptic link range. In the fight phase, an unmodified wound roll of 6 deals a mortal wound. Select a unit. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's-
I mean, you could put it on your gaunts, and if you got a big unit of gaunts, guaranteed to probably do those 6 mortal wounds there.
Yeah, which is nice. Nice little 6 mortal wounds.
Yeah.
Stratagem, hypertoxicity, 1 CP, triggering toxin sacks on a 5+.
So,
Ooh.
you know toxin sacks. I used them against you the first time we played. Getting those to go off on 6s instead of 5s on top of wounding on 4+s is really going to guarantee you get a high volume of attacks through.
Wow.
They're going to be lower AP, only AP -1 on Jormangandr, but still...
But still, just having AP -1 with that many attacks is...
Or you can even look at, this would probably be, I think I touch on it in the future, but I'll say it now. This will be the Hive Fleet where if you want to run 4 Scything Talons or 2 sets of Scything Talons on Warriors, this is going to be the Hive Fleet to do it, because you're going to have 7 attacks of Warrior with hitting on 3s, wounding on 4s, 6s, or 5s and 6s can do.
That's kind of scary.
Yeah.
And then they have a Relic, which I think is really good. Bear gets +1 toughness and built-in
Enraged Reserves.
Enraged Reserves.
So Enraged Reserves is our points upgrade to double your wound bracket when you're determining your characteristics. So he gets that 25 point. He doesn't get the free stratagem that Enraged Reserves get, but still he gets that 20 points built in plus +1 toughness.
Okay.
So you could think +1 toughness. There's
good.
3 things that I go through immediately.
Toughness 8 stuff.
Toughness 8 Flying Hive Tyrant now. Or toughness 9 Foot Hive Tyrant and Tervagon. Which is wild that you can have a toughness 9 one.
Toughness
like
9 Foot Tyrant with a heavy venom cannon and Last Whip Bone Sword.
Yeah.
That's really scary.
That could be really fun.
Yeah.
So again, we'll go into playstyle. Toxin sacks everywhere for this army. They are all about, they lean on their damage with high volume of consistent hits. Your worst nemesis is going to be someone like Admech where they're playing all vehicles.
And low toughness stuff.
Yeah, and low toughness stuff.
Right.
But if you're playing, anything else really, anything else, any other army is going to be love and life against this. And even if you're up against vehicles, there's still ways to make your poison do significant damage to vehicles. So Toxicrins are going to be fun ones. Again, like I said, the Hive Tyrants or toughness 8 Flyrants would be good. Large blocks of Warriors with 4 sets of Scything Talons.
Oof.
A unit of 9 is putting out 36 attacks.
7 attacks each.
No, hold on. 63 attacks.
Oh my god. That's
Which
crazy.
is, because they're core, you can buff those up with the Hive
Put
Tyrant.
all kinds of stuff on them.
Have those hit on 2s, rerolling 1s, wounding on 4s.
What would that
minimum.
be the best against? Like
Best army?
Or like unit, what would be the most
That would be how you would kill Custodes. High volume, substantial. I mean, you're talking 50 wounds on a unit.
And they are AP -1.
Yep.
Yeah, that is how you kill Custodes.
50 wounds at AP -1 to a block of their Terminators.
And they'd only be getting a 3-up.
3-up save. It will kill them.
Yeah.
So
cool.
This is a great one there.
Yeah.
Combat monsters. I mean, they're your combat monsters. Toxicrin is a fluffy choice.
He's already poisonous.
He's very poisonous. I don't think he's the most competitive of all the Tyranid monsters, but
we still love him.
We still love him.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Gorgon.
Cool.
Very fun one, and I'm glad to see they get a nice glow up.
Definitely
in this
better, but still fluffy.
Yes.
Cool. All right, we're back. We're going to Hydra. I don't know if this part got included, but I like how they look. Cool colors. So their Hive Fleet adaptation is +1 to hit and melee for units that outnumber their opponent. Monsters and vehicles count as 5 models. So again, probably some gaunts.
This is the swarm, the pure swarm type.
Interesting.
Army, yeah.
Okay. And adaptive traits is +1 to move, +3 to a max of 9. For consolidation moves, how can you get up to 9 inches?
So Jormangandr and some other units have some extra,
combos.
and
Okay.
there's other stuff too.
So +1 to move and +3 to consolidate. You can trade that trait out for a trait on the hunt and or feed table. The Warlord trait is heal D3 wounds each command phase. Cannot stack with the other healing stuff.
Yep.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Keeps them around.
It's all right. Psychic power is Warp Charge 6. Select one enemy unit within synaptic link range.
Yep.
Or 18 inches of the Psyker. Roll d6 for each model and 3d6 for each monster within 3 inches. On a 5+, that enemy unit takes a mortal wound. So I could not focus on what that said as I was reading it. What is that?
So you pick one. So you got a unit here of Space Marines.
Got it.
Right, and you choose them. Yep. Every enemy unit within 3 inches you roll, or your friendly unit within 3 inches you roll for. So let's say you have a unit of 10 gargoyles within 3 inches, you roll 10d6. If you have a Carnifex within range, you roll 3d6 for them.
Whoa.
Every roll of 5+, they take mortal wound.
Wow.
So
d6 for each model. Okay.
Yep. So if you do that, if you position yourself properly, that is a pretty easy 6 mortal wounds.
Okay.
Assuming your dice are average.
So for Warp Charge 6, if you position okay, you get 6 mortal wounds. Cool.
Pair that on top of your smites and stuff too.
Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. Stratagem is critical mass, 1 CP. Well, there you go. It's a Gaunt thing, I'm guessing. Reroll the wound roll if you outnumber your enemy in melee. Ooh. Whoa.
Yeah.
Man, the +1 to wounds and the rerolling wounds is...
Makes the Gaunts a little more consistent.
Yeah, imagine that on Jormangandrs.
Yeah.
Finally, the relic is reroll the wound roll when shooting. Hive Tyrant with a heavy venom cannon.
That's about it.
Again,
that's all you'd really want it for.
It's a great unit. So
I guess, yeah.
If you really like it,
go for it.
Do that, yeah.
So the playstyle, obviously, it leans on swarms and large units.
Cool.
Yeah. Otherwise, it could be a pretty balanced list. You know, you can have some shooting, have your combat.
That, yeah.
You don't have to play all swarm, all this or that. Jormangandr blobs will hurt your opponent. There are ways to make them just absolutely devastating in this.
Yeah.
Hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s with Will of the Hive Mind. You can do the 1 CP to reroll all your wound rolls. Your 30 Jormangandrs are putting out 36 wounds to toughness 4 and 5 models.
With AP.
With AP.
I don't keep saying it, but that makes a huge
The AP is a big thing. It's unfortunate the Jormangandrs aren't priced as well as they could be.
That's how you get that much damage, though.
But yes, the Tervagon and her 30 Gaunt babies are going to be really good for this.
True.
One thing I want to say this one combo. So this Hive Tyrant or this Hive Fleet has the +1 to move, right? You can play, if you're playing True Swarm, there is a trait they can take for their infinite swap out trait that gives all your Gaunt units a 6-inch pregame move. So you can do the 6-inch move, then you have your +1 to all of your movements, and you could do the Tervagon Synaptic Imperative that gives everybody +2 to their move.
So you could just take the entire board.
You could take the entire midfield turn 1 with all of these Gaunts.
Wow.
And just sit there.
If your opponent doesn't have
anti-infantry
shooting or a lot of it, you could probably just take the game turn 1. Not by tabling them.
Not by tabling them, but just gum up the midfield.
Just objectively taking the game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Imagine that in gargoyles. You got 6-inch move plus a 15-inch move.
+1.
Well, a 12-inch move plus
later.
your 3. Yeah. And you could advance on top of that if you wanted to. And still shoot.
Wow.
Wicked.
Wow, it's cool.
So Hydra, I don't know again how competitive it will be.
That would be fun to watch,
but it would be really fun to see it played.
Yeah,
definitely. And we'll probably do it at some point here.
Yeah.
Jormangandr.
Yeah.
This one it's fine.
Okay.
It's okay. It's kept the same theme as it had earlier before.
They're the burrowing,
kind of lurking, shooting from a distance. So what their Hive Fleet adaptation is, all monsters gain dense cover if they're shot from 18 inches away. So that's -1 to hit. Cool. And then all non-monsters gain the same thing from 12 inches away.
Solid.
So it's solid. It definitely
bad.
is a durability buff, and it means you don't have to include Venom Thropes in your army at that point.
True.
The adaptive trait is god-awful, I will say that. Have the unit size when being shot by blast weapons. So your 10-man block of Gaunts count as 5.
Out of all the other ones, This one seems bizarrely
this
less
is
good.
horrible.
At least you can swap it out.
You can swap, yeah, absolutely.
That's
you swap it out, and this is probably one you're going to plan to swap out for something else.
I can't imagine you would ever take that.
No.
Trade.
No, because if you're playing Swarms, why are you playing Jormangandr?
That's a great
I mean, you
point.
can, but why are you, if you're playing real Swarms, why are you not playing Hydra?
Very bizarre.
The Warlord trait is you select a unit within synaptic link range. When that unit shoots, if its targets do not receive the benefit of cover. That's it.
Receive the benefit moving forward. So you strip cover?
You strip cover. I don't know why. Yeah, it's fine.
It's all right.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Psychic power, warp charge 7. Select one enemy unit within synaptic link range or 18 inches of a friendly psyker, or of the friendly psyker. Friendly units attacks against them gain an AP.
Solid. That is solid.
So yeah,
That's
this is a
not
solid
bad.
one. It lets you pick out a unit and just do that much more damage to them.
Yeah.
Stratagem is buried in weight, 1 CP. This has gotten a lot better than it was before. You can just set you can use it 2 to 3 times depending on your game size. Strike force 3 times. You just set units into deep strike. You don't need the Trigons, the Molochs, or the pods. You can just put a unit in deep strike.
So if you're playing 2,000 points, you can just put 3 units in a deep strike for 1 CP?
For 3 CP, 1 each unit.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was going to say that 1
That's
CP is a
really
pretty good deal. Yeah.
So you could put your Zone Thropes if you really want to. You could put your Pyrovores,
Maliceptor.
Tyrannofex,
Cool.
lots of things.
Well, that's actually pretty good.
that is a really good one.
Yeah.
The Relic is at the end of the movement phase. You pick an enemy unit within 12 inches. You roll 3d6. If it's greater or equal to their leadership, they cannot perform actions. Yeah.
Very situational.
Very, very situational.
Okay.
So the playstyle of Jormangandr, again, hasn't changed too much. It's very durable long-range shooting to take advantage of your dense cover, but you also want...
But you're burrowing towards...
So this army has always been a tricky one to play effectively because you're essentially playing 2 armies. You have your long-range support, and you have your beta or alpha strike tunneling.
It's a weird one.
It's a weird one, but because again, and I say this, I'm not a big fan or I've said it before, because it feels like you're counteracting your traits by going closer to the enemy.
Right.
So you play as like two armies working together in a way when you're doing it.
Okay.
You can tech in the monsters with the Lurk Biomorph. So this is the trait you can swap out. You can have all your monsters double their wound for determining the bracket characteristics. You can give your monsters OBSEC, or you can have all your monsters ignore EP -1.
Cool.
So all those things stacked on top of the cover is not a bad option.
Certainly makes it better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some key units you'll want to look at. Lictors will be great for boosting your deep strike because they have the pheromone trail, which gives an aura, I believe it's an aura of +2 to charge.
I did not know that's what that was.
They are good.
Oh.
Yeah, it's changed. So it's good.
Cool.
You can either deep strike your Lictor, or they can just run up the board because they're so fast. Some units you want to consider deep striking. Pyrovores, you could deep strike some Gaunts. Gene Stealers already have Vanguard deployment. Your Raveners already have Vanguard deployment. Your Exocrines and Warriors you'll probably want for your long range shooting. Synapse supports. And I think the Maliceptor could be fun to deep strike.
Just drop them in.
It depends on your army. I mean, it allows you to choose what he targets with his Psychic Onslaught.
True.
But, and it keeps him, if your opponent's got really heavy anti-tank shooting, just save him, essentially.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Raveners, you said, have 4 deploy?
No, Gene Stealers do. Raveners have deep strike.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they have that built in.
You're saying they also have 4 deploy?
That would be wild.
That'd be too strong. Yeah.
All right, now...
Kronos.
I think Kronos is our last one.
Cool. Well, this was the menace of the
Pre-Leviathan.
last codex, pre-Leviathan supplement.
Yep.
They're the Gunny Boys. Hive Fleet adaptation, add 4 inches to all ranged weapons. Yeah.
I mean...
I don't know about... Okay.
It keeps you at distance a little bit more.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Adaptive trait is models that target enemy units within half range gain +1 or -1 AP. That's cool.
So it stacks with the 4-inch range, works in conjunction there. So it helps a little bit.
Cool. The infinite trait, so the ones you can switch the adaptive trait out for, are on the feed and lurk tables. The Warlord trait is an aura. Enemy psychers within 18 inches suffer perils on any roll of a double. You probably won't be taking that much, but...
Unless you know you're playing Grey Knights.
Unless you know you're playing Grey Knights or 1,000... Actually, just Grey Knights. 1,000 Suns don't really...
Or thousands. I mean, still doubles is doubles.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that might actually make them take some mortals from Million Perils. Psychic power is Warp Charge 7. Select one unit within synaptic link range of a Psyker. That unit's ranged attacks gain +1 strength for the shooting phase. That's good.
+1 strength can take a lot of units to another level.
That could bring your Hive Guard back
to strength.
What they were.
Put them to strength 7. Can take your Tyrannofexes up a higher strength, at least on the smaller guns.
Exocrine will be wounding everything on 3s at the worst.
Pretty much.
Titans.
It'll
be wounding Titans on 3s.
Wow. Maybe 4s for some of them.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so good psychic power.
I'll explain the stratagem because it's kind of confusing. So it's Deepest Shadow,
cool.
1 CP. You use it when an enemy Psyker fails a psychic test within 18 inches of a Psyker. They immediately suffer D3 mortal wounds. And every time for the rest of the phase that an enemy Psyker also fails a psychic test within 18 inches of that same Psyker that you chose, they suffer D3 mortal wounds in addition.
This would be a nightmare for my Grey Knights because I fail psychic powers all the time with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, you can take into effect, well, you can take effect, the -1 to casting from Shadow and the Warp and everything.
Wow, that would be a nightmare for me, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Relic in the command phase, select one enemy unit within synaptic link range. That unit cannot reroll hits, wounds, or psychic tests. Again, very good.
Can be good, yeah.
Against Grey Knights because you have a lot of rerolling wounding, rerolling psychic tests.
Yeah, because it's hard for us to pass our psychic tests, so we have to reroll them a lot. Yeah, that's true.
So Kronos is fun.
Anti-Grey Knights.
It is very good against Grey Knights.
Yeah.
It is your classic gun line. If you want to play true gun line, this is what you do. Big guns, sit back and shoot, have some small units to gum up the midfield. Key units, again.
You even wrote it in here.
If you do want, I'm not a big fan of tailoring to your opponent, but if you want your best chance to play and win against Grey Knights and 1,000 Suns, Kronos is going to be a good opportunity for you.
If you are playing Tyranids and your friend either plays Grey Knights or 1,000 Suns, then you should do this because you got to get back at them for what they've done to you because they counter each other a lot.
It's just it's insane amount of anti-psychic. And it seems very situational, but I guarantee you if you're playing a psychic heavy army, it will come up more than you realize. So again, ranged weapons, Hive Guard, Exocrines, Death Spitters will start getting really good.
Yeah, with that boosted range.
With the boosted range and the extra AP.
True.
One nasty combo I'm going to touch on, and I will be using in a battle report. You will not have seen it yet, but you will see it. The Tyrannofex with the Fleshboar Hive has some potential. So he's 170 points, and this is the combo that you do. So he's got the Psychic Power and the Hive Fleet trait. So Hive Fleet trait is the 4-inch range, and then he's got the extra AP at half range. And then the Psychic Power gives him the extra strength. So now he goes from strength 5 to strength 6. Then you use Scorch Bugs, which is normally not a great stratagem. It's 2 CP on him. Not 1 CP, it is 2 CP on him.
Okay.
That gives him 6 more inches of range.
Ooh.
And an extra strength.
And it's already AP2.
Yeah.
Oh.
So now you are looking at, if you're in half range, which your range is going up to 40 inches or something. So if you're within 20-inch range, you are having 30 shots, hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s against most stuff. You're wounding tanks on 4s with it.
Oof.
At AP -2 and damage 1, but still, that many
it's
shots.
Just a lot of shots.
On average, you do 14 wounds to a toughness 4 to 6 model and 11 wounds to a T7 model.
AP -2?
AP -2.
Wow, once again, that specific unit is really good against Grey Knights. That's going to be a menace for sure.
I don't know how often it'll be used, but the Fleshboar Hive has been useless forever. Since it came out, pretty much.
Cool to see that it is good.
It might have a chance.
Could be good.
So that's it. We've covered every Hive Fleet. How I rank them is, as you can see, compared to normal, they're all good. None of them are like, I would not say any of these are garbage. They all have some ways you can make them good.
Yeah.
Obviously, Leviathan is the well-rounded, durable one. They're the best right now.
Okay.
Kraken, mobility, and punch. You could argue, but Behemoth is better than Kraken. I am biased towards it, so maybe I say I like Kraken more than Behemoth. But they're neck and neck, the two of them. Gorgon, I think, is pretty good. I'd put it behind Kronos, and then Jormangandr and Hydra. But still, I think they're all.
They got buffed though.
They're all really good. Just
and
not.
it really helps that you can pick your second trait, because if you've painted your stuff as Hydra or Jormangandr, it allows you to still take some good stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the whole rules, you know. Some people say, oh, but my Hive Fleet's not painted in whatever. I don't like that at all.
You don't like...
I don't like how... people who try and push your paint scheme has to match your rules.
Oh, yeah.
I hate that.
Well, I was just saying, if you love Hydra and you want to run Hydra, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's still like kind of viable.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because you can pick one of the traits. I agree with you though.
Yes.
You
Sorry,
can run whatever you
I
want.
misinterpreted what you were saying.
Yeah, I didn't say it very well. That's okay.
So yeah, that's the summary. Those are all of the Hive Fleets. I think they're all very good. Let me know in the comments what you guys are running. Are you just playing your Hive Fleet that you like? What is that one? Or are you playing for the competitive scene and you're probably running Leviathan, Kraken, or Behemoth?
Yeah.
Let us know down in the comments. We will cut it off there and see you guys next time here at Maelstrom Gaming Studio.
Thanks, guys.